Hello everyone. My name is Elise. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing so good today. We're doing my October TBR, and my October TBR is probably my favorite TBR to put together because October is the month where I seasonally read. I also do this in September, but only to a little bit of an extent. I read a few seasonal books in December, but in October, my entire TBR is all spooky, seasonally related themed around like Halloween and spooky season. So I always love this reading month. It tends to be one of my best reading months of the year, and I'm very excited for it. So we're going to do something a little bit different from my previous TBRs, which normally I talk about the ones that I'm for sure reading and then the ones that are maybes for me. But for this month, there's only one for sure, and it's the one from my book haul revisit. So we'll get to that at some point, but we're gonna go in categories instead because I just feel like that's fun and interesting. And Big has joined us down here in the corner, a precious little baby, and he's just passed out down there. So we're gonna let him live his best life, and we'll go ahead and get into the books. So firstly, where do we want to begin? Oh my goodness. I think let's begin with ghosts. So first category is ghosts, and we have two books from here. Firstly, we have Where the Wild Ladies Are by Aoko Matsuda. This is translated from the Japanese by Barton, and it's published by Soft Skull. This is a short story collection where each short story has to do with a ghost in some way. And I've been waiting to read this in October, and I'm very excited to get to it. And I do believe that these short stories are linked as well, which I also find a fun change because most of the short story collections I read aren't linked. So I think this will be a nice shift for me. And it also has Japanese folktale elements thrown into it. So that is Where the Wild Ladies Are. Next ghost book, you saw this in my recent haul. It is Lights by Brenna Thummler, and it's published by Oni Press. This is the third in this installment. I'm not sure what the series itself is called, but the first one is called Sheets. And this is the last one, like I said, so I won't spoil what this one is about. But the series as a whole is about a girl who's in high school. Her mother has recently passed away, and her father owns a laundromat business. And she starts working at the laundromat business more and more to help him out after her mom passes away. And in the laundromat one night, she finds a little ghost named Wendell who's in one of the sheets, and it goes from there. It's very heartwarming. It's either middle grade or YA. I can't quite remember. I think it's YA since she's in high school. But very heartwarming, definitely like a moralistic tale trying to tell you to like be true to yourself and be kind and those types of things. So that is Lights. It is the finale, and I'm excited to read the finale. Look at the art style. It is beautiful and gorgeous, and I love it. So there she is. So that's the other ghost book. Now let's switch into murder. Let's go to murder. So first murder book is the one from my book haul revisit and the one that I need to read in the month of October, and that is The Twyford Code by Janice Hallett. This is published by Viper. I have the UK edition, that's why it's by Viper. And this one is all about an author, I think, is she a children's author? Yeah, a famous children's author named Edith Twyford. And then we kind of, in future day, there is our protagonist is trying to investigate Edith Twyford's novels because she is convinced that there's some sort of clue or code in them. And then the person investigating disappears. And so lots of other people now all of a sudden are interested in what they were trying to find. So I think that's the initial setup. And this one is told in audio file. So I am going to try and pick it up in audio and do a tandem read. I've heard that the audio is great because it's audio files, and I think it will really add to the experience. That is The Twyford Code and the first murder book. Next up, we have a recent edition because this was just nominated for the National Book Award in Translated Literature. And this is a crime novel. It's The Devil of the Provinces. This is by Juan Cardenas, and it's translated by Lizzie Davis and published by Coffee House Press. And this one is a crime novel, like I said, about a man who has to return to his native Colombia after 15 years of being gone. He never wanted to go back, and he starts to get thrust into the unsolved murder of his brother. So there's the murder, and other things also ensue, which are very fascinating. I said this in my book haul that there's a school, like a boarding school for girls, where they give birth to strange creatures. That sounds right up my alley. So that is The Devil of the Provinces. And the last murdery book is going to be Megan Miranda, The Girl from Widow Hills. This is published by Simon & Schuster. This one is also from my book haul revisit. It was the maybe second choice for my book haul revisit, but I'm going to try to get to it. I think I might also do this one on audio as well, because I will be traveling in the month and tend to like to listen to audiobooks while I travel. So that is The Girl from Widow Hills. I guess I should say what it's about. So this one is about this girl named Arden Maynor, and her story is very famous in this book. And she was sleepwalking one night and left her house, went out in a rainstorm while she was sleepwalking, and disappeared for 3 days. Everybody in the town was looking for her and they couldn't find her. Eventually they found her kind of like clutching to a storm drain, and it was sort of like a miracle. Like they couldn't believe that she was recovered. So then every year since then, the media is just like all up in her business, right? Like the story, the anniversary of it every year gets publicized, and she decides that like she just can't take it anymore. So she changes her name. She ends up moving away as she gets older. And then as it's coming up to the 20th anniversary, she starts becoming stressed that the media is going to want to start publicizing it again and that they're going to find her. So because of the stress, she starts sleepwalking again. And she wakes up from sleepwalking one night and there's a dead body right in front of her of a man that she previously knew when she was going by her old name. So that's the premise of this. Sounds fascinating. And yeah, I think it will be a lot of fun. So that is The Girl from Widow Hills. Now we're going to go into witchy books. So the first one is a romance, and that is Go Hex Yourself. This is by Jessica Clare, and it's published by Berkeley Books. I love these kind of like seasonal romances, especially the witchy spooky season ones, because I feel like they're so atmospheric and I love that. And this is about a girl who is answering a job ad thinking that she's applying for a job for one of her favorite games called Spellcraft. But what she actually ends up applying for is to be a real life familiar to a witch. And I do think that this one is supposed to be truly funny, like an actual rom-com. So I'm excited for it. That is Go Hex Yourself. Next up, we have a couple that were in my recent book haul again. That is Garlic and the Witch by Bree Paulsen, and this is by Quill Tree Books. Here's a little bit of the art style, and this is the second in the series. The first one we'll get to in the next category, but I think this is just a really cozy, sweet, wholesome kind of tale about this cute little garlic clove who has an encounter with a witch. Oh, actually, okay, I'm not gonna read the back of this because this does definitely talk about the first book. So we'll leave it at that. Garlic and the Witch, love it. Can't wait to read it. And lastly, we have another one, Seance Tea Party, and this is by Reimena Yee, and it's published by RH Graphic, and this is about a seance tea party. So it's like little young witches. I love tea as well, so this just seems right up my alley. I can't wait for it. It looks so good. So yeah, that is Seance Tea Party. Now for our last category, we're doing monsters/creatures. That's what this category is going to be, and it's a wide range. So let's go ahead and get into it. First one we have is Mostrilio. This is by Gerardo Simona Cordova, and it's published by, oh, this publisher was new to me, I'm remembering, Zando, which I'm not familiar with, but I'm very excited about this. This has been getting a lot of good buzz. And it's about a family who experiences the loss of a child, of their son, and they end up taking a portion of his lung and putting it in a jar, and it starts to grow into its own creature. And the creature is like their son, but obviously not exactly like him. and I think bad things start to happen from there. So that is Mostrilio. I think it's going to be an interesting take on grief, and I'm really excited to get to it. So that's the first one in that category. Next up, we have Panics. This is by Barbara Mollinard, and it's translated from the French by Emma Ramadan, and it's published by the Feminist Press. It's a short story collection, and this one is all about different like panics or fears. And on the back, it says that one of them has to do with a woman who becomes transfixed by a boa constrictor at a local zoo. So creatures there as well. And so I think this one is just going to be really great for spooky season. I can't wait to get to it. It's also pretty slim. So, and you can see the snake on the front. So that is Panics by Barbara Mollinard. Next, we have Tono the Infallible by Evelio Rosero, and this one is published by New Directions, and I should say it's translated by Victor Meadowcroft and Anne Mclean. This one is definitely in the monster category, but the human monster variety, because it says the first sentence of the blurb is really what sold me, but it says, this is a gripping novel about an intense relationship between a writer and a sociopath. So the sociopath is the monster in this, and that alone just sounds fascinating enough. I don't need to know more. So that is Tono the Infallible. It also has like the devil on the front. So again, great for spooky season. Next, we have Garlic and the Vampire, the first in the series of the previous one that I showed. So again, by Bree Paulsen, published by Quill Tree Books. And this one is about Garlic, who is tasked with trying to confront a vampire that has moved into this village, because people are like, well, you're Garlic and vampires are afraid of Garlic, so you're the best one to do the job. So she has to muster up her courage and set off on this journey to confront a vampire. Sounds so sweet and cozy. Here we go. Look at that. I mean, could you be more fall than that? I don't think you could. So that is Garlic and the Vampire. And last one in this category and last book for this pretty large TBR is Frankenstein. Again, Frankenstein's creature feature. This is, I think, somewhat of a retelling of Frankenstein, like a very modern retelling. And this one spans from like Mary Shelley's universe up until current times. And in the current timeline, there is this doctor who has created a sex doll and is also becoming increasingly obsessed with a professor named Victoria Stein. So very fascinating. I'm really interested to see what this is like. And also this was nominated for the Booker Prize when it first came out. Also published by Grove Press, I should say. So that is Frankenstein. And that is the TBR for October. Please let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Let me know what you're going to read in October. And I hope we all have the best spooky reading month of our lives. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.